have a great speaker for you guys next. We have the Deputy Performance Officer in Kansas City, Missouri, and she's going to talk to us about a fantastic engagement that the city did with artists to help turn the city's data into something more tangible, provocative, and relevant for the city of Kansas City. So, please allow me to introduce Julie Stingson.
All right, so the first thing I'd like to do is actually just go ahead and show you a video, eating up some of that time so I don't actually have to talk. So if we can cue the beautiful video that was created by the Socrata marketing team.
Working with data generally and visualizing data is about taking something that's a number and that comes out of this type of kind of rigid analytic framework and using it to demonstrate a point or a story or something that can be used in decision making.
And so we started brainstorming about what would that look like for Kansas City? How could we make sure that our citizens are interpreting the data, and how can we tell better data stories?
That just snowballed into this idea of like, let's put out a call for artists, let's bring in professionals, let's get sponsors like Socrata, and let's make it happen in a very professional way out there in the community.
And we'd love to do it in a way that uses the data and turns it into artwork.
We wanted the artists to reimagine the data, and we have got a completely different across the board. I mean, everything from wearable art to 3D art to the traditional visual art, it's all represented in this exhibit.
To me, data is circuit boards. You know, through circuit boards we go city to city, business to business, people to people. And I thought, as a visual artist, how do I make it simple for the people?
There's something really honorable and beautiful about the city making it so transparent that you can actually put it out in front of anybody. Anyone can go on to the Kansas City website and they can click through all the way down to the raw data that supports even the graphs.
I just really hope that what people get out of my piece in general is an overall feeling of both what's beautiful and what's uncomfortable about the things that we love and hate about the city we live in and what that can say about what we need to fix.
Having art that explicitly moves people toward ideas and problems and issues facing our community, I kind of think the sky's the limit. You could have people go through this and see perspectives on city issues that they have never encountered before and wouldn't encounter in another venue.
These are people who would not come to a city hall meeting or a budget hearing, but now they're in an art gallery and then suddenly they're staring at this art on the wall and they're engaging with the city and talking about data and city statistics in a way that they never would have otherwise. That's what you want with community engagement, is that you get people involved who haven't been involved.
I'm a numbers guy. I came up through the organization, and to see numbers and how we manage this organization parlayed into new and different ways to look at it and interpret it through a different set of lens is just simply astounding. I think this is the coolest thing ever.
This exhibit is focused on data, which is extremely important to us because we use data every single day to make decisions and to set policy in this city. Anyone can see and use our data. All you have to do is go to our open data catalog on the city's website. It's open to everybody, it's transparent. We encourage the public to use the data. Socrata is the company that created the software to power our open data catalog.
What we want the driving lesson here to be is that people walk away from this, A, thinking that Kansas City is a creative and innovative city, and also that Kansas City really does look at hard data and real numbers to make sure that they're making smart decisions on behalf of the taxpayers.
It's just incredible. I think we anticipated that there would be people coming and going and that there would, be some activity, but nothing like this.
This encapsulates to me all the work that we've done, that we're doing this aspirational type event to say, let's step completely outside everything we've done and look at data in a completely different way. I think that's where we are right now as an office and as a city.
Yeah, so again, I really want to thank Socrata for their work in helping put this event together. The idea for an art exhibit based on data really was born out of a few major things. So one of them was my Office of Performance Management, was getting ready to hit a little bit of a milestone. We were approaching 5 years of our existence that was sort of building on years and years of the city of Kansas City using data or trying to use data to make decisions, to just drive what we were doing for our community. And so we said, we want to do something big. We want to make this an event that we can invite our citizens to and thank them for their engagement, and we can invite staff and do something cool. Well, our city communications office is also constantly trying to find ways to engage our citizens in unique ways. So we had these two parallel tracks, and at the same time, the city had released a report about the creative sector and the art community being a huge economic driver for Kansas City. And we hired a director of creative services to kind of help oversee some of that work. And so then she brought her unique voice into this, and she said, let's put the data that you guys produce out for the public to interpret. Let's call for artists. And so that's what we did. And in order to also make sure that we were supporting that ideal of supporting our artists in our community, we sought out some sponsorships. Socrata generously helped with that effort, and we were able to give our artists a $500 stipend for their time and materials to produce this art. Further just pumping into that economic engine. So the charts we chose, we wanted to make sure they met a few criteria. First of all, they had to be something we had used in a KC Stat meeting. That's a public-facing stat-based initiative. They also had to be over a diverse set of our city goals. And we made sure that we did not shy away from some of the really hard things that our community is grappling with. The map is life expectancy, and I think like a lot of cities, it varies by zip code and where you live. And that's the same thing in Kansas City. There's a 13-year difference between our highest life expectancy zip code and our lowest. So we wanted to put data out there like that so that we could get the community's input. We also used, where we could, any of the visualizations that already existed on our KC Stat dashboard. Ultimately, we chose 10 pieces out of a couple of dozen submissions, and that was in partnership with our Municipal Art Commission, who selected them based on, do they creatively interpret this data? Do they meet our needs of bridging a gap between the art and the city operations? And then also, we wanted to make sure that the artists felt like they had freedom to use whatever medium they wanted. And so the artists that were chosen worked in all sorts of different mediums, visual art in certain ways, the sort of flat, painting, sculpture, a huge variety. Some of the takeaways we had from the event. This one is a great illustration. We had two teams submit pieces, and they were both a parent and child relationship. And it was incredible to watch them work. As the work evolved, what we saw happen was, from each of their unique perspectives, in this case, the daughter is a financial analyst working with huge data sets for a large financial company, and the mother is a working artist. And when they came together around a set of city data, their perspectives were so invaluable, because they came from two different worlds, and the data is what they coalesced around, and they were able to create a piece that visualized spreadsheet data with actual people painted on top of it. It was a really beautiful piece that just illustrated the bridging of those two worlds and perspectives. In the same way, this artist, Lauren Mcgill, did an incredible printed piece where she went out to those neighborhoods on that map and said, what is it about your health? She's an advocate for reducing health inequities in our community. And what I loved was I saw her and some members of our health department staff standing around looking at the booklet and dialoguing about what she had found. And it's really important to our health department to engage in the community. And it's something that the artist had done for them. And it created a channel of communication. The art created the channel of communication between the grassroots citizen and our health department staff. This piece called Rise was the one that gripped me the most. So I get the monthly report on homicides in Kansas City every month. I look at it. I understand that there are people behind that, but it's not real to me. But when I walked into the gallery space where we showed the art, I walked up to this piece and I touched the fabric, The strips of fabric on this pole represent the year and the number of homicides in that year, all the way from 1926 to 2014. And what happened when I touched it, I had a visceral, tactile reaction to that data in a way that I had never had before looking at it on a spreadsheet. And so I feel like that's one of the things that we really accomplished, was to take the data off of the computer screen and put it into the hands of working artists, and therefore putting it in the hands of people who would not attend a public meeting and who would not necessarily engage with city data in any other way. And so when we look back, we said, okay, were our goals met? Did we celebrate data-driven management in Kansas City? Yes, we felt like we did. Were we able to engage the community? We had 3,000 people, or an estimated 3,000 people, come through the gallery space. Some of them knew they were looking at city data. Others thought they were just at a cool art exhibit. Either way, they were engaging with data. And we feel like that was a tool for civic engagement that we would love to try to do something similar in the future. Also, again, we bridged that gap. We provided some funding for the artist, and we've started a relationship with the art community, and our Director of Creative Services is going to be able to carry that momentum forward in her future interactions with the art community. So if you are interested in knowing what all of the data sets that we put, it's out on our city website. You can go and look and see which ones we chose. There's a little bit of context around them, but ultimately we gave the artists freedom to do whatever they wanted, because we wanted to know what their perspective on our data was. And we found what they created was a beautiful way of looking at data that we had never ever thought to do before. So thank you.